I've been delivering packages for a few years now. It's not a glamorous job, but I like it. There's something satisfying about getting things from one place to another, knowing people are waiting for them. Most of the time, people are friendly. A quick thank you or a smile as they grab their package. But every now and then, you meet someone who reminds you just how ugly the world can be. That's exactly what happened a few weeks ago. It was a regular afternoon, and I was making my usual rounds. One of my stops was at this little diner on the edge of town. It was an old-school place with red booths, a jukebox in the corner, and the smell of burgers and fries wafting out the door. I'd been there a few times before and never had any issues. I walked in carrying a box addressed to the manager. Behind the counter stood a middle-aged woman with short blonde hair and a sharp, impatient expression. She was wiping down the counter when she saw me. Her eyes narrowed. "Can I help you?" she said, her tone icy. I smiled, holding up the box. "Delivery for the manager. Just need a signature." She didn't move. Instead, she looked me up and down like she was trying to figure out what I was doing there. "We don't take deliveries from your kind," she said bluntly. For a second, I thought I misheard her. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," she said, crossing her arms. "Go around back. That's where you people should be." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I've dealt with racism before, but it never gets easier. My first instinct was to walk away, to avoid the confrontation. But something about the way she looked at me, like I wasn't worth the air I was breathing, made me stand my ground. "Ma'am," I said, keeping my voice steady, "I'm just here to do my job. This package is for the manager, and it needs to be signed for." She scoffed. "I am the manager, and I'm telling you, I don't want anything from you. Now get out." I felt my face heat up, a mix of anger and humiliation burning in my chest. But I didn't argue. I set the package down on the counter, gave her a polite nod, and walked out. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about what happened. I kept replaying her words in my head, wondering how someone could still think like that in this day and age. What she didn't know was that I wasn't just a delivery driver. A few months ago, I'd been promoted to a regional management position for the delivery company. I was still making rounds to stay connected with the team, but I was in charge of overseeing contracts and partnerships, including the one with her diner. And as fate would have it, the diner was on my list for a routine review the very next week. When I walked into the diner again, I was wearing a suit instead of my delivery uniform. The same woman was behind the counter, chatting with a customer. She didn't recognize me at first, which wasn't surprising. People like her don't really see people like me. "Hi," I said, stepping up to the counter. "I'm here for a meeting with the owner. I'm from the delivery company." Her smile froze, and her eyes darted to my face. Realization hit her like a freight train. "You?" she stammered. "You're from the company?" "That's right," I said, keeping my tone professional. The owner, an older man with a friendly demeanor, came out of the back to greet me. He shook my hand warmly and invited me to sit down. The woman lingered nearby, her face pale and her hands trembling slightly. During the meeting, I brought up the incident from the previous week. I told the owner exactly what happened, word for word. He looked horrified, apologizing profusely and promising to take action. "I had no idea," he said, shaking his head. "That kind of behavior doesn't reflect our values." The woman tried to interrupt, her voice shaky. "I didn't mean." I held up a hand, stopping her. "With all due respect, ma'am, your actions spoke loud and clear. People deserve to be treated with dignity, no matter who they are or what they look like. And as someone who represents this company, I have to make sure we partner with businesses that align with those values." She didn't say another word. In the end, the owner decided to let her go. He thanked me for bringing it to his attention and assured me it wouldn't happen again. As I left the diner, I felt a mix of emotions. Sadness for the way people like her still think and act, but also a sense of hope. Because every time someone stands up to that kind of behavior, it chips away at the prejudice that still exists in the world. I don't know if she learned anything from what happened, but I hope she did. And if nothing else, I hope she realized that no matter how someone looks or what job they're doing, everyone deserves respect. Because at the end of the day, we're all just people, trying to make our way in the world. And kindness doesn't cost a thing. Looking back, I'm glad I walked back into that diner. It reminded me that standing up for yourself and for what's right is always worth it.